Welcome to Pario Magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. To celebrate the imminent release of Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord on Disney Plus on April 6th, I was lucky enough to chat with the lead actors from the show, Sam Witwer and Gideon Adlon, who will be playing Maul and Devon Izara respectively. So, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Sam and Gideon. Hi guys, I'm Jamie from Pario Magazine in Australia. How are you guys?
Hi, Jamie.
Hi,
Good.
good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Sam, you've voiced Maul longer than anyone previously across games, animation, and now Maul Shadow Lord. At what point did the character stop feeling like someone else's creation and start feeling like your own?
It's a really interesting question. Funny enough, remember I was working on something and there was a big monologue, and it was a new character. It was not Star Wars. And I didn't know what to do with the monologue yet. I was still working on the character. I was trying to figure it out. And at one point I went like, I just didn't know what to do. There were all these words. I had no idea what to do with them. And I was like, well, okay, what would Maul do with them? And I read it as Maul. And suddenly there were all, he had all these opinions about every single aspect of that monologue. And at that point I realized, I'm like, oh, I guess I've been with this character long enough to know how he approaches things and what he thinks of things and how he might use a piece of dialogue to his advantage. So yeah, he's been with me for a long time. I don't. It used to be that I needed to rehearse him a lot. I mean, I had like a sort of a iron grip on the character, white knuckling it. These days, I can relax a little bit and let him surprise me. And the best thing in terms of learning who Maul is now in this new show is just working with Gideon and having her surprise me, and I just get to react. I just get to blurt out the lines in relation to some brilliant performance that she's giving me.
Fantastic. And in that sense, like Maul kind of sees himself less as a villain in this show and more someone living in that grey space. Did that make him feel more human in your approach without sort of losing that edge of being dangerous as well?
Well, the effort in this is to, we don't have to agree with what he does, but we must understand why he feels like he needs to do what he does. Um, so, I've always felt badly for this guy. I've always felt like there was humanity there. But yeah, this show certainly gives us a larger opportunities to explore that humanity and to understand that underneath all of this behavior is someone with the same emotional range as you and I. It's just that he does not deal with those emotions in the same way. He does not deal
Mhm.
with it in a very socially acceptable or morally acceptable way because of his training, because Darth Sidious was essentially his father. He was raised by him. So he sees the universe the way that Sidious taught him to see the universe, which makes him a very dangerous person.
Brilliant. So then, Gideon, on the flip side, this is your first time stepping into Star Wars. What was your relationship with the franchise growing up, and what was your reaction when you found out you'd landed the role of Devon?
Well, everybody loves Star Wars growing up. I will say until recently, I was more of an Indiana Jones girl. You know, I was. But
Nice.
um, this has really given me a look into Star Wars in a way that I never saw it before. And now I understand how emotional it is, how it changes people's lives. Um, every day and will continue to forever and has since the early 70s. And I feel very thankful that I get to be a part of that and maybe a part of someone else's story. I hope that Devon can, lift young boys and young girls up or just young people up, and help them on their journey into figuring out their path and who they want to be. But yeah, stepping into this world was really crazy, but I'm surrounded by such an incredible team that have really become like family, and that's made it easier. Also, I have Sam to fall back on. He's helped me so much in learning the lore and understanding the different galaxies and the wars, and I don't know what I would do without him.
Yeah, there's a lot of back history to get through in, in this day and age compared to when it first started and Sam was in episode one,
Yeah.
or more was in episode one.
You know, and speaking of that history, I mean, Star Wars, much like Star Trek, much like long-standing series, it could feel a little intimidating to approach for audiences, and for that reason, we've put a great deal of effort into making sure that this show stands alone. You don't need to see any other Star Wars to understand what happens in this show. You don't need to know anything about Darth Maul to understand what happens in this show. This show is its own thing. If you happen to be a fan, well, you're going to learn more. You're going to
Mhm.
we got you because we're a bunch of Star Wars nerds. But you know, there's something to be said for providing an interesting on ramp to Star Wars for new fans, and we think that this show works very, very well for new fans.
Yeah, we're currently in the midst of a rewatch of the entire film franchise for the 50th anniversary. So I've recently rewatched episode one. And yeah, there are sort of some elements that you pick up in this show that reference those things, but the show does stand alone, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on that, so if we look at Maul and Devon together, for me, they felt like two sides of the same coin with different beginnings, different traumas that then have now converged into this same place. Did you both see it that way? And did that shape how you sort of crafted the dynamic between them?
I feel like really for me the dynamic has been crafted while we've been working together. Like it wasn't something that I thought about very heavily until I was in the booth with Sam and I saw the way that he was performing Maul and the way that, if I did something, how he would react to it. I feel like you've almost created your own Maul now. Like your own, it's like a completely new Maul to me. And this is my real introduction into him, into Maul's world and learning about him. But yeah, I think that Maul and Devon reflect each other very heavily, and that's why she's so drawn to him. Although that's not something that she'll admit right now.
Mhm. Sam, did you have anything on that as well?
Oh, surely, yes. You've seen the first 8 episodes?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm going to say something that please don't put it in any article that happens before the third episode.
Mhm.
You know, this is a third episode spoiler.
Hi, me again. Just quickly jumping in here as Sam revealed some information that he felt might spoil the show. So we're going to clip that out, and that'll be available next week across all of our social feeds at Pario Magazine. So that'll come out following the release of episode three next week. So give us a follow over on our socials, and you'll be able to check out that clip that we're cutting out here.
So Maul certainly understands at this point that there is something really important about connecting with people, but it's new to him. So what does he do with that? How does he connect to people? You know, you'll notice even the way that he deals with Rook Cast. There's a connection there, but he still doesn't quite know how to deal with these things.
Perfect. Alrighty. Thank you guys for the time, and good luck with everything moving forward. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Sam and Gideon on next week's episode of the Commentary Booth podcast, where we will be revisiting Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, aka the introduction of the Maul character. We will also have an interview with the creative team behind Maul Shadow Lord. So head on over to podcast feeds, YouTube, and everything. Give us a like, subscribe, and share, follow, whatever. And stay tuned for that episode and that interview. Otherwise, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord will be streaming on Disney Plus from April 6th if you're watching this on YouTube. That's later today. I had an incredible time chatting with Sam and Gideon, so thank you to both of them for taking the time to chat with me, and thank you all for watching.